Ladies and gentlemen, let's cut to the chase. You didn't show up here today to play small. You showed up because you know there's something more inside you. And that's exactly what Play Box Leg Factory is all about: pushing past the limits you thought you had, breaking down the excuses you've been holding on to, and building not just stronger legs, but a stronger yo-yo. This isn't about comfort, this is about transformation. And transformation doesn't happen by accident. It happens when you show up, when you dig deep, and when you decide that ordinary is no longer enough. So today I'm going to challenge you, body, mind, and spirit, to step into the factory, step into the work, and step into your power. Because guess what? Nobody's coming to save you, but you've already got everything you need to save yourself. No excuses, only results. This is a mindset, a way of living, a line in the sand that separates people who achieve their goals from people who keep telling stories about why they can't. When you decide there are no excuses, you take away the option of blaming circumstances, other people, your past, your lack of resources, or even your own fear. You strip away the crutches and force yourself to face the truth. Progress is in your hands. Every single excuse we create feels real in the moment. It feels like it makes sense to say you're too busy, too tired, too stressed, too inexperienced, or that the timing just isn't right. But here's the reality: those excuses don't get you anywhere. They keep you stuck exactly where you are, repeating the same patterns and wondering why nothing changes. If you're honest with yourself, you already know that the problem isn't that you can't do it, it's that you haven't fully committed to doing it without conditions. When you live with a results only mindset, you start making different choices. You stop asking whether something is convenient, whether you feel like doing it, whether today is easier than tomorrow. You simply ask, what will get me the outcome I want? And you do that thing even when it's uncomfortable, even when it's inconvenient, even when no one is watching. Think about any area of your life where you've succeeded before: school, work, sports, relationships. The success didn't come because every condition was perfect. It came because at some point you put your head down, blocked out the excuses, and kept showing up until the result happened. That's the formula. You know it works, you've lived it before, and you can live it again in any area you choose. Excuses are appealing because they offer comfort. They let you avoid the pain of change, the sting of failure, or the risk of looking foolish. They let you feel justified in staying in your comfort zone. But every excuse also robs you of power. It tells your brain you're not in control, that you're at the mercy of outside forces, that you don't have what it takes. And once you start believing that story, you begin shrinking your potential. You stop trying as hard. You stop pushing yourself. You stop believing there's another level to reach. Results don't care about your excuses. Results don't ask if you had a bad day, if you were tired, or if you felt like it. Results only come when the work gets done. Period. If you want real change, you have to decide that excuses are no longer part of your vocabulary. It means being brutally honest with yourself. If you skip the workout, admit you skipped it, not because you didn't have time, but because you didn't prioritize it. If you procrastinate on your goals, admit it's not because life is too hectic, but because you haven't disciplined yourself yet. That level of honesty stings, but it also sets you free, because once you own it, you can change it. Once you stop wasting energy building excuses, you can pour that energy into building results. And the moment you stop giving yourself an exit strategy, you'll find you're capable of more than you ever imagined. Discomfort equals growth. Most people run from discomfort as if it's something to fear, but the truth is it's the single most reliable indicator that you're moving forward. When you're comfortable, you're standing still. When you're uncomfortable, you're stretching, you're testing limits, you're stepping into unfamiliar territory where growth actually happens. Think back to any meaningful achievement in your life: learning a new skill, completing a tough challenge, facing a fear. None of it felt easy. It was awkward, frustrating, maybe even painful at times. But that was the price of growth, and you paid it. Discomfort isn't a punishment, it's the tuition you pay for progress. The human brain is wired to seek safety, to stay in predictable routines, to avoid pain. That's why when you start something new, whether it's a workout, a career shift, or a personal goal, you immediately feel resistance. Your brain screams, "Stop, this isn't safe," even though nothing dangerous is happening. That feeling is simply your system warning you that you're leaving the comfort zone. But leaving the comfort zone is the only way to create change. The very muscles you want to strengthen only grow when you push them to the point of fatigue and discomfort. The confidence you want to build only comes when you risk embarrassment or rejection. The resilience you crave only forms when life throws obstacles your way and you refuse to quit. Discomfort is the bridge between who you are and who you want to be. It's easy to misunderstand discomfort and label it as failure. People start something hard and think, "This feels terrible. I must not be good at it." But that's exactly the opposite. The discomfort is the proof that you're doing the right thing. If you were already good at it, if it felt effortless, it wouldn't be new growth. It would just be repetition of what you already know. Think of an athlete training for the next level of competition. They don't get there by repeating yesterday's drills at the same intensity. They push harder, they add resistance, they endure more pressure. That struggle is what allows them to elevate their game. The same applies to every area of life. The discomfort signals that you're training for something bigger. The problem is that too many people misinterpret discomfort as a stop sign instead of a green light. They back away when they should lean in. They quit when the breakthrough is just a little further down the road. Growth requires you to retrain your relationship with discomfort. Instead of seeing it as an enemy, you must recognize it as the guide pointing you toward progress. Every time you feel resistance, you can reframe it as evidence that you're exactly where you need to be. That difficult conversation you've been avoiding, that project you've been procrastinating on, that workout that pushes you to your limits, those aren't things to fear. They're invitations to grow. When you look at the people you admire most, you'll notice a common trait: they didn't avoid discomfort, they embraced it. They built their success in the spaces most people run away from. They understood that nothing worth having comes from staying comfortable. They chose the hard reps, the tough decisions, the uncertain risks. And in those moments of struggle, they built strength, skill, and character. Growth doesn't come wrapped in ease. It comes wrapped in sweat, in doubt, in fear, and in persistence. It's messy, it's uncomfortable, and it's unavoidable if you want to become more than you are today. Consistency beats intensity. Most people think they need to go all out to push themselves to the edge in one massive burst of effort, and then they wonder why they burn out or quit. The truth is, intensity gets attention, but consistency gets results. Anyone can have a single powerful day of action. Anyone can show up motivated once, twice, maybe even for a week. But what separates the people who transform their lives from the ones who stay stuck is the ability to keep showing up when the excitement fades. Consistency is about discipline, not drama. It's the quiet repetition of small actions done over and over until they add up to something unstoppable. The reason consistency wins is as simple: the body and the mind respond to repetition. Muscles don't grow from one brutal workout, they grow from weeks, months, and years of steady training. Skills don't develop from a single intense practice session, they sharpen through countless hours of repetition. Even confidence doesn't come from one motivational moment. It builds every time you prove to yourself that you can show up again. Intensity has its place, but without consistency, it's like a spark that flares and fades. Consistency is the fuel that keeps the fire burning long enough to create real change. The biggest challenge people face is their obsession with quick results. They want to go from 0 to 100 overnight, lose all the weight in a month, master a new skill in a week, or transform their career in a single leap. That's why intensity feels appealing. It gives the illusion of speed. But the reality is that progress doesn't happen in dramatic leaps. It happens in small steps that stack on top of each other. A single workout doesn't change your body, but doing that workout 3 times a week for 6 months absolutely does. One day of clean eating doesn't transform your health, but hundreds of days strung together shift your entire system. Consistency compounds, and over time, the compounding effect is greater than anything intensity alone could deliver. Consistency also builds resilience. When you commit to showing up regularly, you learn how to handle days when you're not at your best. You learn to push through boredom, fatigue, distraction, and lack of motivation. Those days matter more than the high energy, motivated ones because they prove that you don't depend on perfect conditions to take action. You become someone who follows through no matter what. And that identity is powerful. It rewires your self belief. Instead of telling yourself, I'll do it when I feel like it, you start saying, I do it because it's who I am. That's the shift that turns habits into a lifestyle. The truth is, intensity is often a form of procrastination in disguise. People push themselves hard for a short burst, then use that effort as an excuse to slack off afterward. They think one extreme day buys them a week of rest. But progress doesn't work like that. Consistency requires humility, the willingness to do the small, often unglamorous actions without expecting immediate payoff. It's showing up to practice when no one is cheering. It's sticking to the plan when no one notices. It's choosing the steady climb over the dramatic leap. And it's trusting that those choices will add up, even when results aren't visible yet. The beauty of consistency is that it lowers the barrier to entry. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be the best. You don't even have to feel ready. You just have to keep showing up over and over. Each action may feel small on its own, but together they form momentum that becomes impossible to stop. While others burn bright and fizzle out, you keep moving. And over time, that steady movement leaves intensity in the dust. Your body mirrors your mindset. Everything you think, believe, and repeat inside your head eventually shows up in the way you carry yourself, the way you move, the energy you give off, and the results you create. If your mind is full of doubt, hesitation, and negativity, your body will follow. You'll move slower, your shoulders will slump, your performance will shrink. But when your mindset is fueled by belief, discipline, and determination, your body rises to meet it. Your posture changes, your energy intensifies, and your capacity to perform increases. The body is not separate from the mind, it is an expression of it. This connection is why so many people stay stuck. They want to change their bodies, but they don't address the thoughts that drive their actions. They start a workout program, but secretly tell themselves they're not strong enough. They go after a goal, but whisper doubts about failing before they even begin. Those thoughts become instructions, and the body listens. If you tell yourself you can't, your body will prove you right. If you tell yourself you're too weak, too tired, too busy, your body will reflect exactly that. But if you decide that you can, if you decide that you're capable, if you decide that you will, then the body finds a way to follow through. Every physical transformation begins in the mind. Athletes visualize success before they step on the field because they know the brain leads the body. When you see yourself succeeding, when you imagine the outcome you want, your brain fires the same pathways as if you were physically doing it. That mental rehearsal strengthens belief, and belief unlocks effort. The reverse is also true. If you constantly replay your failures and fears, you reinforce hesitation, and hesitation weakens effort. The body becomes a mirror reflecting whatever story the mind chooses to tell. This is why language matters. The words you use about yourself are programming your body. Saying, I can't is not harmless, it's a command. Saying, I'll try is not neutral, it's hesitation disguised as effort. Strong language creates strong action, replacing I can't with I will, or I'm learning shifts your mindset. And when the mindset shifts, the body responds differently. You lift heavier, you push harder, you last longer, not because your body magically changed in that moment, but because your mind stopped putting limits on it. The body has always been capable of more. It just needed the permission of the mind. Stress is another powerful example of this mirror effect. A stressed mind creates a stressed body. Shoulders tighten, breathing shortens, sleep gets disrupted, recovery slows. On the other hand, a focused and calm mind creates efficiency in the body. Movement becomes smoother, performance becomes sharper, endurance becomes greater. This doesn't mean ignoring stress, it means mastering it. Training the mind to stay present and positive directly transforms the way the body experiences challenges. A strong mindset doesn't erase pain, but it teaches the body to keep going through it. Confidence works the same way. When your mindset is rooted in belief, your body projects it. You stand taller, you move with certainty, and people around you feel that energy. Confidence is not something you wait to feel after your body changes. It's something you practice in your mind first, and then your body catches up. The body will always rise or fall to meet the standards set by the mind. That's why growth requires you to train both. It's not enough to build strength without building belief, because sooner or later, the limits in your head will cap the power in your body. And it's not enough to think positively without taking action, because the body still has to execute what the mind believes. The two work together, reflecting each other, reinforcing each other, and creating the results you see in the mirror. Discipline creates freedom. Most people hear the word discipline and immediately think of restriction, rules, and limitations, but the reality is the opposite. Discipline is not about locking yourself into a cage. It's about building the strength and structure that unlock true freedom. When you have discipline, you're no longer controlled by impulses, distractions, or excuses. You create consistency, you build habits, and you take ownership of your choices. That ownership gives you freedom, the freedom to live in a body that feels strong, the freedom to pursue goals without hesitation, the freedom to live a life designed by intention rather than dictated by circumstances. Without discipline, every day is chaos. You wake up reacting instead of leading. You go where your emotions pull you, where temptations drag you, where procrastination steals your time. That lack of structure doesn't feel like freedom. It feels like being trapped in patterns you can't escape. You stay stuck because you're waiting to feel ready, but readiness never comes. Discipline removes that waiting game. It allows you to act whether or not you feel motivated. It cuts through hesitation and makes progress possible even on days when energy is low or circumstances are tough. That's why people who build discipline often look like they have more freedom than anyone else. They get to enjoy the benefits of the work they've already automated into their lives. Discipline is what keeps you aligned with long term goals when short term comfort tries to pull you away. Anyone can eat clean for a day, anyone can save money for a week, anyone can train hard when they're in the mood. But discipline is what carries you through when the initial spark is gone. It's the voice that says, I don't negotiate with myself. I already decided what I want, and I'm doing the work whether I feel like it or not. That consistency builds momentum, and momentum builds freedom. Because when you've stayed disciplined long enough, you no longer have to fight for every choice. The habits are ingrained, and that automatic behavior frees your mind for bigger goals. Consider how discipline plays out physically. Training your body every day may feel like effort in the moment, but it buys you the freedom of strength, energy, and health. Skipping discipline in the short term feels easy, but it costs you the long term freedom to move without pain, to live without limits, to enjoy the body you're in. The same applies to every other area of life. Financial discipline creates the freedom to make choices without fear. Professional discipline creates the freedom to control your career path. Mental discipline creates the freedom to focus instead of being pulled in every direction. What looks like effort up front always leads to more ease later. The hardest part is shifting your mindset about discipline. Too many people think it's punishment. They think sticking to a plan means missing out on fun or being too rigid. In reality, discipline is the opposite of punishment. It's a gift to yourself. It's proof that you respect your goals enough to protect them. It's how you show your future self that they matter to you. And it doesn't mean you never enjoy life. It means you enjoy it on your terms instead of being at the mercy of cravings, impulses, or regrets. People without discipline live at the whim of whatever comes their way. People with discipline live with clarity and control. Discipline is not about being perfect. It's about being consistent enough to create results. You will slip at times, you will stumble, but discipline means you get back on track faster. You don't let a bad day become a bad week. You don't let one mistake become an identity. You recognize that the power is always in your next choice and you choose to keep going. That habit of returning again and again is what builds resilience. Resilience builds confidence, and confidence expands your freedom even more because you know you can handle whatever challenges come your way. Strong legs, strong life. Your legs are the foundation of your body, the base that carries you through every step, every climb, every challenge. They are more than muscles, they are symbols of stability, resilience, and forward motion. When your legs are strong, you move with confidence. You stand taller, you endure longer, you recover faster. A strong body begins from the ground up, and just as your legs support you physically, the strength you build there becomes a metaphor for the strength you build in every part of your life. Think about what happens when your legs are weak. Every task feels heavier, every movement slower, every challenge more draining. You hesitate to push forward because your foundation isn't solid. That same principle applies to your mindset and your life. Without strength in your foundation, you crumble under pressure. But when the base is strong, you can carry more, you can climb higher, and you can withstand the weight of adversity without breaking. Training your legs is not just about building muscle, it's about proving to yourself that you can handle whatever resistance is put in front of you. Leg training is uncomfortable. It pushes you to the edge, it burns, it tests your endurance. But that discomfort creates power. Squats, lunges, deadlifts, these movements don't just strengthen your body, they train your will. They teach you to keep moving when it hurts, to stand tall when your body wants to collapse. That mental toughness transfers into your life outside the gym. When your legs can handle the weight, your mind learns that it can handle the pressure. Strong legs teach resilience, and resilience creates strength in every other area. Your legs are also the engines of motion. They move you forward literally and figuratively. A strong set of legs means you can run further, jump higher, push harder. But beyond the physical, strong legs symbolize progress. They are the parts of you that carry you toward your goals, step after step. Every stride represents persistence. Every climb represents ambition. Every rep represents the willingness to build the base required for bigger dreams. A life without forward motion feels stagnant, but when you train the foundation, you guarantee that you can keep advancing no matter how steep the path gets. Strength in the legs also creates balance. The body is a system, and when the lower half is strong, the entire system functions better. Your posture improves, your back is supported, your movements become more efficient. That same principle applies to your personal and professional life. When your foundation, your habits, your discipline, your mindset is strong, everything else operates more smoothly. You're not constantly correcting, wobbling, or falling off track. You stand firm, you move with purpose, and you stay balanced no matter what comes your way. Strong legs remind you that nothing great is built on weakness. They remind you that stability, endurance, and power come from putting in consistent work where it matters most. It's easy to focus on what's visible, the arms, the surface, the quick wins, but it's the foundation that determines how high you can rise. You can't build a skyscraper on sand, and you can't build a strong life on weak legs. When the foundation is powerful, everything you build on top of it becomes unshakable. The stronger your base, the more freedom you have to chase bigger goals, to carry heavier loads, and to face tougher challenges without fear.